Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we have a very special video. Today, actually, when the video comes out, will be December 31st, which is going to be basically end of the year. And I wanted to do a year review because I feel like so much has happened this year, probably the most eventful out of all of the other years I've had, basically all the past 24 years. And actually in 2 days, I'll actually be turning 25 on January 2nd. So keep a lookout for that. And honestly, I have to say though, this is my first New Year's or whatever when it came to my YouTube channel, because I did start it back in April, May, something like that. And I wanted to really go over my entire year. So honestly, like if you're not interested in me, it's fine. But this is really just for me to look back in a few years and go like, wow, this was the first year I ever started YouTube. And this is exactly what I did. Because like from paying off my student loans, buying a condo, moving in, and also like starting my YouTube channel, podcast and whatnot, I was like, wow, I really did a lot. And not to mention COVID-19. So I didn't get COVID, just to let you guys know, but you know, there was COVID-19 happening at this time. And if you're far in the future, just Google it, look it up. You'll see all the stories behind it. But I really wanted to just use this video as a way to kind of look back into the past and see exactly what happened. So kind of like a video journal, basically. So it is December 31st, and Happy New Year to everyone if it's January 1st or onwards. But in general, I think this year was really a tough one for a lot of people, no matter where you are. And it's mostly because of the pandemic. Either your lifestyle has changed, or maybe your job has even been affected, or maybe you have lost some loved ones, or maybe you got sick yourself. There was just a huge event going on this entire year, and we thought it would be only for a few months, but it ended up being a year. So hopefully it stays within maybe only 2 years, hopefully not more than that, but we'll see from there. And the first thing I want to say is that I want to thank everyone for being supportive of my channel. I did start in 2020, and honestly I have not been able to get this far without you. So this video is a tribute to you guys for your support, and also want to bring you along this journey and see exactly what there is to come. And the first thing I want to go over is January. Honestly, January is the least eventful month for me when it came to 2020, because all I really did was like I came back from vacation from Bermuda, which I do have a vlog if you want to check it out over here. And it's really more like a music video, if anything. And that's actually like something that my boyfriend and I like to do, is that almost every December, January, holiday break, whatever, we like to kind of do some kind of trip to celebrate New Year's and my birthday, and just in general, because a lot of those days you can kind of accumulate all of the holidays and all the breaks and PTO. So we went to Bermuda, and then that's actually where I celebrate my birthday as well. And when we came back, actually, that's our first month with Sora. First full month with Sora. So just to give you some background, is actually I got Sora, my cat, my second cat actually, my Siberian cat. And he was actually like a cat I got on Christmas Eve, but it was not that much time because I did want him before then. And so I wanted to kind of introduce Dawn, my other cat, my first cat, to him and really try to get them acclimated. And by the time that we went for Bermuda, they still weren't completely acclimated. And my friend Sally was actually willing to take care of them and try to help reinforce them together. Because when I was talking to the breeder about like, should I just wait for after the vacation? It just makes more sense. But he said like it would be better to do it earlier, so that way they can get acclimated as soon as possible. And when we did that, actually, by the time we came back, they were all acclimated already. I think it was like Dawn stopped hissing at Sora when we were leaving for Bermuda, but when we came back, they were just best of friends, wrestling, having fun, all those kind of things. So it was great. The first month, that's exactly what we did. It was a lot of like cute moments with Sora being a cute little kitten. And honestly, a lot of it was just finally actually having him as a kitten, like, you know, being a lap cat, petting him, playing with him, all those kind of things, learning his little intricacies. And just like I have a whole cat playlist on that, so you could just check that out. But that was really what happened in January. And when it comes to February, honestly, like financially, that was actually a big moment for us, because February was when we were like, okay, well, we know for sure 2020 was going to be the year that we're going to buy a condo. And again, this was before COVID-19 happened. We were already looking at a lot of places in 2019, but we didn't have the money because I had student loans. So we actually, like, I asked a lot of my New Yorker friends, like, what areas do you think were great for, like, for families, for young people, and great areas in general that you would like to be in? And we got a whole list of them. So that list was like basically downtown Brooklyn, Cobble Hill, Boerum Hill, Brooklyn Heights, Long Island City, Astoria, Greenpoint, Williamsburg, all those kind of places. If you're not from New York, sorry, but if you're from New York City, you probably will be familiar with a lot of these neighborhoods. So we went to almost every single neighborhood to make sure we knew exactly what we wanted. We were looking for family friendly, so basically like good school districts or like areas you can go take your kids to the park. Like, of course, like there's so many city areas where you're gonna have a lot of cars and a lot of people and honking and stores, but that's just New York City in general. We were contemplating if we wanted to go to like Westchester or Connecticut or Long Island or New Jersey, but we were thinking like, for the first 10 years, maybe we'll just stick to New York City, have it appreciate, sell it and whatnot, or we just stay here because we like being in New York City. It's so convenient. You don't need a car. And that's honestly one of the big things is like, we don't want a car. We hate driving, or more like I hate driving. And I don't have a car, and Addison doesn't even have a license. His learner's permit actually got expired during COVID-19 pandemic. So he's not gonna go out to the DMV just to get renewed and then, I don't know, wait another few months until we can take lessons again. But that was like mostly the reason why we stayed in these New York City areas, but we completely wrote off Manhattan. We had ideas of like basically Lower East Side and also like FIDI and Upper East Side and Upper West Side, but at the end of the day, the price-wise, like sure, the prices were comparable to Brooklyn, but the maintenance and the HOA fees, wow, it was like so expensive. And the property tax too. So we're just like, you know what? No. At the end of the day, when you pay off your mortgage, it's almost like you're paying rent. It's like $2,000 a month, basically. So February, we went to go explore all of these neighborhoods. And then I was like so driven. I was like, okay, I know exactly what I want to do. And then I was like looking at my bank account, like, I don't like the fact that I had $15,000 of student loans just hanging around there when I had the money. And I'm like, I've been saving a lot since then. So I have been saving about like $2,000 a month since I started my job. And from there, I was just like, okay, well, I can pay off my loans now. Why should I wait? And for the longest time, it was just like, I hated having debt. So that's why I wanted to pay it off. And a lot of people were just like talking to me about like, okay, should you do it? Should you not? And then it was really mostly on interest rate. And I was thinking like, if I knew I was gonna buy a place, it's a little bit too risky right now to invest to later on cash out or pay it out or whatever. So I was like, okay, you know what? Investment's out of the question. So it's either savings account or if I were to keep it in my student loans balance. So at the end of the day, I was looking at it. My savings account was like around, I think it was like around 1% or something like that. And then my student loans was at 4%. So what I did was like, I took the money from my savings account and paid off my student loans and completely. So basically that was like such a very monumental month for me because went to 4 years of college and then had to get a lot of student loans, about $50,000 of it, save a lot of money, and then also start to spend money on rent, moving out and whatnot, living on my own, and eventually move again to move with my boyfriend in like affordable housing. And then I had to actually pay off my student loans if I wanted to seriously pursue for this condo. I could technically keep that student loans and then also just save money on the side so that way I had more money there, but then it would also affect our ability to get a mortgage. We would definitely get a mortgage, 100%. It was just a matter of how much, and being with New York City, I just wanted to make sure we were all in the clear so I don't ever have any issues. So I just paid it all off. And after that, I started, like the money I would pay my student loans was now used towards saving up. So that way when we were paying for like down payment or closing fees or anything like that, we would still have it in the bank account. That was February, and I was just like, wow, huge financial decision I made, done. Student loans were gone. We made a stern decision that we were going to buy a condo this year. And then March came. And that's when we heard that New York City or New York was gonna be shut down. A lot of other places at this point was shutting down. So we were like, okay, well, time to kind of like buckle our seatbelts and get ready for this. We had absolutely no clue what to expect. But of course, like actually for my projects, I wasn't supposed to be traveling at all for this particular year. All the travel was done last year before at least my long haul projects. And then I have a lot of short-term projects here and there, but they don't really require travel unless I'm needed there. So I didn't actually need to travel to begin with. So honestly, the lifestyle change was just going to the office twice a week towards going to the office 0 times a week. So we just really stayed from home and then worked from home. Honestly, the first month, which was basically March, was when I was like, I'm so bored. I need to do something, because in the past, like I was able to just go talk to some coworkers, or after work, we just take some time, come here, we eat dinner, and then like whatever, we're done with it. Weekend, we could go out, but now we can't. So I was like, okay, I need something to do. And that's where basically April came around. And that's when we were like, okay, I need to do something. And I have all of these travel vlogs that has literally been sitting in my hard drive for a year or 2 even. And that was like from the like California vlogs, Las Vegas vlogs, Italy, Bermuda, all of that was basically just sitting in my hard drive, unedited. So I just churned out travel vlogs day after day. And then honestly, that was a lot of work. I mentioned in my YouTube journal video over here that I was just like, wow, it's so much work, because you have, instead of like a normal video that I normally just shoot and then cut, this is like 50,000 clips, and then you have to shoot and cut all of them in order. And organization was key. So it's just a lot of work to just organize and then make sure you cut it in a way, and then also tell a story in some way where it's not too long in some parts and not too short. So that was something that I learned a lot. And honestly, this part was really important, because I learned to really streamline my editing in terms of like using shortcuts, and then maybe seeing like, okay, this one, the pacing is not that good, so I'll fix it. And I had a lot of feedback from my friends who were just looking at it like, oh, this is too long, I'm not gonna watch through this. You want a video to go by really quickly. So that's actually where I learned a lot of my editing. And I mean, I did learn how to edit a long time ago too, but it's just doing it back to back to back, you start to really commit that to memory and learn how to do this in a good habit. So when it came to my actual YouTube videos, honestly, like the funny thing was that my very first serious YouTube video, which was on the competitive resume, was actually like done during a workday. Shh, but it was something where I was only like 50% utilized for work for a project. And then I had like no other project at the time. So it was just 50% on this longer project that I've been on since I started at Accenture. And then this 50% of emptiness. So I tried all the training I could do. I basically maximized my particular budget for that. And then I also did everything I could do, like networking, do these +1s, literally everything. So I was just like, I have a lot of free time. It's like you get fluctuations every time. So at this point it was like half the time, so 20 hours of nothingness. So I was like, I picked up the camera and I just shot a video, and done. It was like, that was it. And then I edited and I was done. So again, the whole thing though was that back then, for like a typical 15-minute video on my channel, it would take 1 hour of footage. So that is 1 hour of footage to edit, and there's like 1 hour of outtakes, a lot of mistakes and whatnot. Now for like a 15-minute video, it could be 20 minutes. So I just really cut that 5-minute fluff. So during that time, I was trying to really streamline my entire process. Thankfully, it was so much easier than a vlog because it's not so many clips. I was learning about like, how do I organize a video? How do I make it in a way that's interesting and different than everyone else? Otherwise, like, why would they choose my video over the others? Same thing happened for my second video, which is the why you should be a technology consultant video. Honestly, it's like my best performing video at this point. I think it actually brings me the most subscribers and traffic to my channel, which makes sense because it's like the very first video that was truly about technology consulting. I think in at least the search term of technology consulting, there's probably a lot more out there, but I just don't see it. But from there, that's what I was like, okay, this is actually doing pretty well. I'm gonna focus a lot on technology consulting. Before I was like, I'm just gonna do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And I was like, okay, technology consulting seems to be my focus. A lot of people seem to be curious about it. They don't know anything about it. There's like a whole niche that is unexplored in technology consulting, so I'm gonna pursue it. And then I actually started churning a lot more videos. And again, this is just like 1 video per week, because at that time, that was like my whole entire process was long. I couldn't exactly cut them in a very short pieces. And then June came along. So that's where I actually started the technology consulting Facebook group. So if you guys are not in the technology consulting community, make sure to check that out down in the description below. It's a whole community. It was like about 70+ countries at this point, with over 1,000 members all around the world, all focusing on technology consulting. Either they are aspiring to be a technology consultant or that they're currently a technology consultant. This Facebook group is for you. So it's really a lot of interview questions, like in terms of like, oh, this is what to expect, or like what should I do to prepare for my recruitment process at EY or Deloitte or Accenture. And then a lot of resources there too is like, for example, the case interview resources and also the pro bono consulting program that will be launching in January. So keep a lookout on January 4th for that video to completely describe everything that's going on there. And honestly, there's just so much things going on there. I originally was creating this Facebook group kind of like as a community. I did not expect at this time to create programs and actual events. So I start to see that there's a lot of potential in this group to do a lot more than just a Facebook group. I hated the fact of having Facebook groups where it just sat there, no one's talking. So I tried a lot of cool things like, here's some virtual networking events. Here's a way to do like case interviews. At that time, that's a really good way to kind of get resources out there. And that's also where I was thinking like, what else could we do? We could do the mentorship program. We could do the pro bono program. And then there's just like so many opportunities here. So I was like, okay, let's focus one at a time because I'm doing a full-time job, YouTube, podcast, which I'll explain later on, and this. So I really need to make sure I prioritize and manage my time well. So when it came to June, that's also where I actually started to think clearly about the technology consulting case interview program. So I knew for sure I needed to do a video on it because there's nothing about it. It's like always everything about management consulting, nothing about technology consulting. So I want to make sure to talk about that. At the end of the day, I kind of like built frameworks and programs and put that in the Facebook group. So it's a way to kind of to bring people to the Facebook group and not just have it sit there and have people discover otherwise. But that's where it started to grow, and honestly, a lot of people seem to be coming for the program, and it's really great because I'm seeing a lot of people help each other out, do some kind of case interview practices here and there, and provide their takeaways. It's so great and rewarding. And then July came along, I was still building it up, and actually at this point, the real estate markets were coming back up in New York. Oh, like I think it was like phase 4 or something like that, where the real estate market is back on. And that's when Addison and I were just like, okay, we're gonna seriously look at condos to look at this time. We were still a little bit apprehensive though, because really a lot of them are still not completely in our price range, or that they're not exactly the best ones. We did go to see one place, but we're like, no, this place is too small. And the neighborhood is like, it was Williamsburg, but it was just not in a great area of Williamsburg. It was kind of far away from a lot of things. So we're like, maybe not. If you guys can't see this, it's not drinking alone if the cat is home. Isn't that so fitting? So August came along, and that's actually when we really looked at condos. We were looking at all the neighbors I previously mentioned before, but honestly, it was just 1 week that really took everything. We looked at like 8 places all in that 1 week, either like after work on the evenings and then a lot on the weekends. The one we ended up going for was the very first one that we saw. That's actually the one I'm currently in right now. I really enjoy this area, honestly. It's so convenient. There's so many restaurants and stores and grocery stores, while before I would have to walk or take subway. I also like how convenient it is with all the subways, like, oh, so many places. So it's so easy with all of those subways, like a lot of trains here. So that was one of the main reasons why it attracted to us here. Like there's so much, and there's the piers along there. One day I'll do a video where we can go out a lot more easily from COVID-19 and whatnot, and show you exactly the areas I like. So in August, we were looking at a lot of places, and then we were also looking into, okay, I think it was like starting in September when we were like, we're gonna place an offer. You guys already know the story if you haven't seen my video over here, but that's exactly, follow our journey over there to see exactly what happened there. But this was where we really started our house journey. And the September came in, that's actually when my friend Michelle, if you guys haven't seen, I actually did do an interview on her over here. And that was where it was like, interviewing for my podcast. And at that time, I didn't actually think I was gonna do a podcast. I think it was just like a video interview I wanted to just do, because it's like, why not? It's just fun, like we're there. And we were supposed to actually be going to Lightbox Expo at this particular time, but we booked these tickets last year in like 2019. So we weren't gonna cancel it because the flights weren't canceled themselves. So we're just like, we're gonna go, because otherwise they're just gonna either give us credit to use again, and then it was like, okay, well, might as well just go. Because all we ended up doing was we went to Michelle's place and we just stayed there, chilled a little bit. I did 2 videos there, one of Michelle and one of Colin, so it couldn't be any better to have them two as my first guests on the podcast. So that was really cool because we did that in person. I really learned more about them on video, at least. Like, I know Michelle a lot more than outside the video. But Colin, actually, I didn't know that much until we did the video in terms of like what exactly his job entailed. So it's cool that his job was about technology, because then my boyfriend and I, we would just talk to him a lot about AI and technology and whatnot. So that was when I also started filming the podcast. At that time, it was a lot of video interviews. I was basically trying to convert these video interviews into audio files. So things like, comment, subscribe. We would take that out and then just basically master the audio, because the video could be great and all, but when you listen to it just the audio, it may not be that great because maybe it like seems far away, in which at the video interview I didn't think so much about it. It actually did seem pretty far away. It's like a decent distance from the camera, so you kind of hear it echo against the walls. So I made sure that in the future to make sure to have lavalier mics. So you're gonna see that in the video I did for Addison had lavalier mics, so it's a little bit better there, but I did mess up a little bit there and had some hair in my necklace hit around my eyes, so it's not the best perfect audio, but I'm still learning, So October came along, and that's actually when the podcast was launched. So I knew for sure we're gonna do video interviews. It's gonna be focusing on technology professionals and women of inspiration, but I was like, I can't focus that much on it. That's like 4 episodes per month, like 1 every single week. And I was like, okay, well, I need to keep this a little bit more consistent, right? I can't just do every other week. So I decided to do a little bit more like chatting with Christine. A lot of them were with Addison, honestly, because he was just here. But ended up trying to develop it more like here with friends or with coworkers or with people I know or people I don't know. So that's eventually the direction I want to go with the podcast. To have those casual chats or specifically topics on the young working professional. It doesn't have to be about work, but it could be things like dating, friendship, or discovering yourself, retirement, family, all those kind of things. That was the main focus of the podcast anyways. So I want to focus on the young working professional also for my interview segments. So when it came to women of inspiration and technology professionals, I want to focus on young professionals and women as well. Then November came and it was like, oh my God, this was also a pretty big month too. I hit, first off, 1,000 subscribers the day I closed. So when I'm talking about closing, I'm talking about closing on a condo. So if you guys haven't seen it again, make sure the real estate journey was actually pretty interesting. It was like started in September when we placed an offer, and then we lost it, and then we placed another offer, got it, and then we had to go through the entire closing process. November came along, sealed the deal, closed it a day before Veterans Day, and then basically it was done. So at that point, we just needed to make sure to hustle and pack our stuff, move here during the pandemic. So we hired like movers and everything. Everyone had masks. So we definitely did not want to do that on our own. We did not want to rent a U-Haul and then us, people who don't like to drive a U-Haul. No, we're not going to do that, especially not in New York City. So we hired movers that my friend used, and it was like, oh, so affordable actually. It was like about $500, so good. And during this time, it was actually like so easy. We just packed a lot of it anyways, and then they just moved it away for us. And on the same day of closing, that was when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So I was so happy. And honestly, this is just like, I did not expect to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And I also did not expect to be monetized by end of the year, 100%. But it ended up happening. So the 1,000 subscribers I was like 2 subscribers away from 1,000 when I was closing. And then my friend Sally actually was like, oh, let me use my 2 other accounts and then just subscribe to you just to make you feel extra special that day. So I hit 1,000, and then there's also a few people that subscribed to me that day that hit over 1,000. So I was like, oh, even if Sally didn't do it, I didn't feel cheated out. Other people would have done it and I would have hit 1,000 on the same exact day. So at the end of the day, I was like, wow. I hit my goal before the end of the year, and then my goal on monetization actually brings me to December. So on December, I think it was December 6th. No, it's December 7th when I got approved for monetization. So I was like, oh my God. I actually hit, I think it was like December 5th was when I hit the 4,000 watch hours. If you guys didn't know, you need 4,000 watch hours of public videos. So of the past 365 days, which means that if today right now is December 31st, from January 1st to December 31st of this year, you're good. But for tomorrow, it will have to be January 2nd to January 1st. So like it's like a rolling 365 days of watch hours, and 4,000 hours is a lot of time. I was so intimidated when I first heard about it. Like, my videos are 15 minutes. How are they gonna possibly do that? And like, not to mention, not everyone watches your videos until the end. Sometimes like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. It's kind of like averaging around that time too. It's never gonna be the whole entire video for all of the views. I don't know, some people who may have like explosive audience retention, props on you, but I don't have that. So that's like where a lot of the watch hours actually was coming from, the why you should be a technology consultant video. So a lot of my technology consulting videos did really well because there's not many out there. So from that particular content, it was just what really helped me get monetized. So I ended up getting monetized, and I meet my goal like before the end of the year. And for this particular year, like normally I would be celebrating Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or with family, with friends and holidays and traveling and whatnot. But this year it's just mostly gonna be staying at home. Thanksgiving, I was lucky that my mom like came pick us up through car, so it's just like only one person to meet up and not in the subway, and then go straight to her home, which is literally like a 30-minute car ride away. And then for Christmas though, it's just gonna be Addison and me. So well, we have like a whole plan in terms of like what we're cooking, what we're preparing, who we're celebrating with. In this case, there are 3 cats, 2 cats and then 1 foster cat. And then also for New Year's too, honestly, don't know where, I don't even think we have any plans for that at this point. So this video comes on December 31st. Leave a comment down below on how we can celebrate New Year's. I don't know what to do. I don't know, maybe just make more s'mores or something. Maybe bake something, I don't know. But January 2nd is my birthday, and we're gonna be doing a lot of fun stuff too. Afternoon tea, got like some little cake tiers that my friends got me for my birthday, and then also getting some like pastries for delivery, ordering food, VR, all those kind of cool things. So I do have some friends over, and they're gonna be all tested before then, but again, we're literally gonna be less than 5 people, and they all have been extremely safe. So that's honestly like what I've been doing, what I'm planning on doing, and this wraps out my year. There's just so many things that I'm looking back like, how did I possibly do this? Like, first of all, paid off my student loans, in which I did have like a debt-free journey video on that. And then I also bought a condo with my boyfriend. Also launched a YouTube channel, hit the 1,000 subscribers, hit the 4,000 hours, got monetized, and then also started podcast. Honestly, the podcast is not doing that great. It's like my least priority, being the one where it's like, oh, here's some videos, and then like it's also the easiest to do because you just record randomly, talk a little bit, and then edit and put it up. But it's a lot more work if you want to focus on it. And then also did some Instagram here and there, which is not that big of a focus. It's just, here's a little bit about my life, that's it. If I really want to put everything out there, I'll probably like lose my mental health. But I have huge plans for January. Like I mentioned before, the Promoted Technology Consulting Program will launch in January. And then I'm also going to be providing more content to you guys on January 4th as well, in terms of how I could provide more career advice to you guys. So make sure to look out for that video in terms of what to expect for next year, and also specifically January for the program. Make sure to subscribe for more if you want to keep an update for the January 4th, and also join the Facebook group down below about technology consulting community if you're interested in technology consulting. Thank you guys so much, and Happy New Year. Bye.